Hello, dear Swift learners. I welcome you all to Swift Learn, which is India's most sincere learning destination. So, I hope that everybody is fine, and today we are going to do the second part of interdependence of living beings and non living beings, right? So, before that, we will be just seeing what is Swift Learn all about and how do the classes go in here. So we have live and interactive classes with batches containing maximum 6 students. Apart from teachers, we have academic mentor team to guide you and to track your progress. And also we cover the syllabus as per your school exam schedule so that you can perform well in your schools too. Apart from these, there are some of the key features of Swift Learn. For example, detailed progress report, which gives a kind of detailed analysis of your homeworks, classworks, practice tests, etc. Then we have Swift Learn academic test series that consist of the various tests of various subjects that you can attempt, can see your position, can work accordingly. You can also take unlimited practice test, which includes 2 categories of subjective and objective, and subjective tests, they will be further helping you in your school exams. So please book your free trial class on Swift Learn and see how the classes go in here and have this amazing experience. And if you are new to the channel, please subscribe and press the bell icon and press on like button if you like the video, right? So today it is a second session, as I told you, of interdependence in nature, right? So what are we going to learn today? How are living things dependent on non-living beings, and what is meant by food relationships. Okay, before that, let's have a quick revision of our previous class. We saw what is meant by interdependence and how are living beings dependent on non-living things. So what is interdependence? Interdependence is how we are dependent on one another, right? If I talk about living beings, we are somehow dependent on non-living things, and non-living things are dependent on us. So this particular thing, it is known as interdependence. Okay, talking about some of the abiotic components like air. So why do we need air? We need air, we use oxygen for respiration. Okay, so this particular respiration, it's a kind of process by which we are generating energy, and in the respiration process we take in oxygen and we give out the carbon dioxide. So some of the questions from our previous sessions: what do plants get from the soil? So from the soil, plants get the various things like minerals, the water, and the fertile soil, it contains various other things which are very important for the plants in form of minerals. So plants are dependent on the soil for this thing, and also soil, it's holding the plant at one place, so again they are dependent on soil. How do plants and animals depend on each other for oxygen and carbon dioxide? So we human beings, we living beings, take in oxygen for respiration and we give out carbon dioxide. And this carbon dioxide, it is taken in by plants for the process of photosynthesis, which is preparing their own food in the presence of sunlight, water, carbon dioxide, chlorophyll. And they again give us oxygen, which is taken in by us. So this cycle goes on. How are dead animals useful to plants? So what happens over the course of time, the dead animals, the dead plants, they are converted into humus, okay, by the various microorganisms. So this humus, it is very much rich in the various organic matter, which is further very helpful for the plants for their growth. So this is how dead animals become useful to the plants. Now, dependence on living things on each other. If I talk about plants and animals, we are entirely different from each other, but we cannot live without one. Okay, we need each other. How? If I talk about all the animals that we are dependent on food, okay, so we are dependent on animals for, let's say, meat. Okay, so people, they eat chicken, they eat fish, they eat meat. So people are dependent on the animals for their food. Okay, next, a list of plants that we are dependent on. So for plants, if I talk about, there are many plants that we are dependent on, right? Wheat, for grains like wheat, rice, maize, jowar, bajra, various vegetable plants, various flowering plants. Okay, so here are all the plants that we are dependent on for our food needs. Okay, and if I say that plants are also somehow dependent on us, how? We will be seeing that. Okay, now first of all the animals, they depend on plants for their food, right? If I talk about herbivores like cow, goat, etc., they are directly dependent on the food, that is, they directly eat the plant, they eat the leaves, etc. And carnivores, like if I talk about lion, tiger, wolf, leopard, etc., they do not eat the plant, but they eat the herbivores, which eventually eat the plant. So somehow carnivores are also dependent on the plants. Okay, next, talking about the shelter. So plant, they provide shelter to many animals and thousands of insects. The birds, they make their nest on tree. Squirrels and monkey, they live on the branches, right? So many animals depend on the plant for their living, for their shelter needs. Then we depend on plant for oxygen. As I told you, during the process of photosynthesis, plants give out oxygen, which is taken in by us for our respiration purpose. Okay, so we need oxygen for respiration, which is given out by plants. Next, if I talk about how are plants dependent on us animals, the plants, they use carbon dioxide, which is produced by animals. Okay, so these plants, they take in the carbon dioxide to make their own food, and this process is known as photosynthesis. Okay, so this is how plants become dependent on us. Next, plants use oxygen. So living things, we use oxygen for respiration. Okay, and at the night time, plants also use oxygen. So at night time, plants also use oxygen for respiration, and they release carbon dioxide. Okay, so if I talk about animals and plants, we are interdependent on each other for oxygen and carbon dioxide needs. Okay, next, what happens when plants bear fruit? So when there are many animals which eat fruit, they help in dispersing the seed. So what is meant by dispersion? It is, carrying away of seed from one place to another. And because of this dispersion, the plants, they can grow into new plants without moving themselves. So the animals, the insects, they help in dispersion of the seeds. Next, how do living things make soil fertile? So there are various animals like earthworms which help to loosen up the soil. So when they move up and down in the soil, they loosen up the soil, and because of this, oxygen can enter the soil and it loosens up the soil. Next, they allow air to be available for roots inside the soil. So when the soil, it gets loosened up, the air gets inside the roots and it is available for the plant. And next, talking about the various bacteria and fungi, they break down the dead body of living beings to convert it into humus, and it further converts into useful nutrients which mix with the soil, and that is how plants get those nutrients. Next, talking about food relationships. So what is food relationship? It is interdependence between plants and animals for food. So we are all dependent on each other for our food needs, and this particular thing, it can be shown by a food chain. What is food chain? It is a series of living things which shows which animal eats which one. Okay, and the direction of arrow which is shown here, it tells the direction in which nutrients or the food flows. So we will start with sun. So as I told you, during the process and for the process of photosynthesis, the plants take in sunlight. Okay, so here we are getting, okay, so the plants, they are preparing their own food using sunlight. Then various worms and various animals, they eat the plants directly. Okay, then there are some of the birds which eat the worms, right? So it is going from here to here. And birds, again, it is eaten by some of the animals like snake, etc. Okay, and if snake, bird, worm or tree, it all dies, then it is converted into some of the useful nutrients in the form of humus by some microorganisms, and it again goes to plants for their growth. So it is showing how we all are interdependent on each other for our requirements. Next, talking about the first thing, autotroph, that is producers. So producers, they produce their own food for energy, and food chain, it actually starts with autotroph, that is plants. Okay, so from sunlight they make their own food from the process of photosynthesis. Next is heterotroph. So what is heterotroph? We are the consumers. Okay, so they eat other organisms to get their protein and energy. For example, some bacteria, fungi, grasshoppers, some insects, some animals, etc. Now, they can be nourished by others in different ways. So if I talk about animals, there are various type of animals. Like some animals, they eat only plants, like herbivores. Some animals, they eat only animals, okay, other animals, carnivores. Some eat plants and animals, both, omnivores. And some, they feed on already dead plants and animals. So we will be seeing about each of them one by one. Talking about herbivores. So herbivores are those animals which only depend on the plant for their food needs. So they become primary consumer in food chain. Okay, they do not eat any animal, they eat only plant, and that is why they are known as primary consumer or herbivore. Next, carnivore. They eat flesh of other animals. So they eat only animals, and therefore they are known as secondary consumer. We humans, we are omnivores. Why? Because we eat plants and animals both. So bear, human, etc., they are omnivores. And scavengers are the ones, these are those animals which feed on dead and decaying matter. Okay, they feed on dead animals, okay, like vulture, crow, jackal, and they actually help to clean the environment. Okay, they feed on already dead animals, so they kind of clean the environment. But there is one more thing that we need to remember, that these are not decomposers, because they are not breaking down the complex material into simple, they are just eating, so they are kind of cleaning the environment. And decomposers, there are many bacteria, fungi, etc., many microorganisms which feed on dead plants and animals, and they are known as saprotrophs. So these animals or these organisms are known as decomposers because they break down the complex structures into simple substances. Okay, so therefore they are known as decomposers. So here we have food chain. From sun, the producers make their own food. It is taken by herbivores, which are primary consumer. Then it is eaten by omnivore or the secondary consumer, and the omnivore or herbivores, they are eaten by carnivores, which are tertiary consumer. Okay, and then if they all are dead, they are decomposed by decomposers, and the humus, it again goes to the soil for the growth of plants. Okay, so green plants are primary producers. Then we have herbivores, which are primary consumers, and after the herbivores we have carnivores, which include secondary consumers, tertiary consumers, and quaternary consumers. Alright, so which gas is used by plants during respiration? So during respiration, plants are also using oxygen. Next, plants do not depend on animals for oxygen. So plants, they do not need oxygen. Okay, so they are not dependent on animals. And which are primary consumers? So primary consumer, it is rabbit. Okay, fill in the blanks. All living things need oxygen for, so we need oxygen for the process of respiration. The sun provides dash to all plants for photosynthesis, so it provides sunlight or solar energy. Plants depend on animals for dash and dash of seeds. So first of all, they depend for their carbon dioxide needs, and then they are dependent on for the dispersion of seeds. So dispersion is the carrying away of seeds from one place to another. Fun facts: plants, they can turn only 0.1 to 8% of sunlight they receive into energy, so a very small amount. And photosynthesis, it needs more than carbon dioxide and sunlight to work, so it also needs water, nitrogen and phosphorus and various other minerals. Okay, the challenge for the day says explain the term chewing a cud and give two example of chewing cud animals. So there are various animals actually which are capable of bringing back the partially digested food to their mouth. Okay, and this partially digested food, it is known as cud. So various animals like cow, buffalo, goat, etc. If you have seen in your surroundings also, sometimes cow and buffalo, they keep on chewing something regularly, right? So that is what is known as cud. So what are they capable of is whenever they eat, they partially digest their food, okay, and after a period of time, they can again bring back their partially digested food to their mouth, and they are chewing it again to completely digest it, and that is what is known as chewing the cud. And some of the examples are cow, buffalo, goat, etc. Alright, let's do an activity. Dash is a series of living things, so food chain, it is a series of living things. Carnivores like leopards, tigers and wolves don't eat plants, so yeah, they do not eat plants. Produce their own food for energy. Food chain, it starts with plants. Okay, so what are the things we have learned today? We learned about how are living beings dependent on non-living things, and we have learned about food relationship by the food chain. So I hope that you might have studied and understood every single thing. We will be meeting in our next session, in which we will be learning a bit more new things. So stay tuned, keep learning, take care. Thank you.